also have boxes for us. That's Lynn and I'm Sue. Tim has one? I have one. Sounds good. Where am I gonna put it? Yeah, put it someplace you don't have to. That might work. Keep you from screaming.
Nothing keeps me from screaming, that's Tony.
Thank you.
This is your book. That's okay. You want your other book? Want this one too? Yes? Yes? I'm going maskless.
Yeah, I think it's a matter of choice at this point.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Please take your seats. We're going to get started. It's wonderful to be here together. It is the summer. Welcome. If you're new, welcome. We're thrilled to have you. Maybe everybody's just coming to dinner. I don't know. We have 20 some odd people coming to dinner. People like to watch at home and then show up to eat. It's wonderful to have you here, all of you. So let's take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. And we'll sing Hini Matov, Umanayim, Shevarachim Gam Yachad. How wonderful it is for brothers and sisters to be together. All of us here in the sanctuary. Hine Matov, Umanayim, Shevarachim Gam Yachad. Hine Matov. Mark and Sandra. Sandra, would you like to come join us on the Bima? Please come forward. So Temple Emet was originally founded in 2010 in their living room. And so now here we all are in our sanctuary, and it's so wonderful to all be together. And if you'll turn in your Siddurim to page 138, we have Lecha Dodi, page 138. Verse 1. Shamor v'zachor v'dibur echad Ishmi'anu el Hanuman Adonai echad Shemo echad L'shem l'tiferet v'lidi la 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 Hadodi Ligrat ligrat kala B'nei b'nei Shabbat mikabala Lecha lecha dodi Ligrat ligrat kala B'nei b'nei Shabbat mikabala. Verse 5. Hitoreri, hitoreri, kiva oret kuri ori, ori ori, shir dalberi, kevod Adonai, light migla la 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 hadoki, ligrat ligrat kala, tane tane Shabbat mikabla, laha laha dodi, ligrat ligrat kala, tane tane Shabbat mikabla. Verse 9, and we can turn around and rise and face the door. Boi v'shalom ateret bala, gam b'simcha v'sokola, tochamanei am segula, boi chala, boi chala. Lecha lecha dodi, ligrat ligrat kala, b'nei b'nei Shabbat mikabla. Panei panei Shabbat mekabala. Panei panei Shabbat mekabala. Panei panei Shabbat mekabala. Please be seated, and if you'll turn to page 142, we have Shalom Aleichem. We're going to welcome in the Sabbath angels to watch over us this Shabbos. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharei, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu Lila Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seichem Hashalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And now we have our Chatzi Kaddish on page 144, which separates our warm-up, our Kabbalat Shabbat portion, from our official call to worship, our Baruch Hu. Together, Yit Gadol, V'Kadash Shemei Rabbah, Ve'alma Divrach Rutei V'yamlik Malchutei, V'chayei Chol Yivyo, V'chayei V'chol Beit Yisrael, V'agala, V'agala, V'bizman Karev Yimaro. Yehei Shemei Rabbah Mevarach, Le'alam Lo Me'almaya. Yitvarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yihadar v'yidaleh v'yihalal shnei dekudusha brechu le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata tushvechata v'nechemata da'amiran ve'alma v'yimeru. Amen. And now the ark is going to be opened, and we are going to do that, Baruch Hu, together, everybody. And then there was light. Deep breath in. We're going to have a nigun to connect our soul to our official call to worship. Ya la la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya 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 la 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 la. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. And now you can be seated as the ark is closed. And it's so nice to be up here with Mark and Sandra, and Mark was a singer in the choir, and he's singing a joyful noise out to the Lord there. In a very melodic way. I'm not implying it was a noise, it was joyful. And so now let us read together as we turn the page. We're going to have our chanting of our evening prayer, our Ma'ariv, our Ravim. And let's read together on the bottom of 149 first, and then the text is on the previous page. This is an hour of change, and within it we stand uncertain on the border of light. Shall we draw back or cross over? Where shall our hearts turn? Page 149. Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? This is the hour of change, and within it we stand quietly on the border of light. What lies before us? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over. And we always have these moments when we have to figure out, what do we want to do? Do we want to go forward? Do we want to go back? Do we want to stay inside our own cocoon? Which is something that I think so many people are facing right now. You know, are we really going to step outside? Are we going to eat inside? First we got used to eating outside. Now we got to think about eating inside. And so we just need to let go and let God and just go forward and live life. Are we going to draw back or cross over? Let us cross forward toward our destiny. So on page 148, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim v'chochma poteach she'arim uvibuna meshaneh itim umachalif et hazmanim v'misader et hakochavim v'mishmerotehem barakia kirtzono v'rayom v'layla golel or mipnei choshech v'choshech mipnei or uma'avir yom umevih layla umavdil ben yom uvein layla Adonai Sabaoth Shemo El Chai v'Kayam Tamidim Lakoleinu Le'olam Va'ed Baruch atah Adonai Hamariv Aravim. And now I'll have Olam on page 150. And let us read as our wonderful musicians play the text underneath the Hebrew. Everlasting love, you offered your people Yisrael by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and your commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life, and doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us. Praise to Adonai, who loves your people, Yisrael. Ahavat Olam B'Yisrael Amcha Ahavta Amcha And now you'll turn to page 152 and 53 for the Shema. If you would like to stand and connect to the Shema in the way that you might have done all on the previous years of your Judaism, or if you want to stay seated and be more meditative and go into the cocoon of your own soul and your being, you can do that. However you best can quiet the noise of the world and bring in the sacredness and the silence of Shabbat and let the divine speak to you. So please take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Feel free to stand or sit, whatever is your custom. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kavod, Shem Kavod Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kavod, Shem Kavod Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Adonai Echad. Adonai Echad. Please be seated and turn to the Ve'ahavta on page 154. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha ve'hayu hadavarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom alevavecha ve'shinantam levanecha ve'dibarta bam Beshitecha bebeitecha uvelechtecha baderech uveshofecha uvekunecha ukashartam leod al yadecha vehayu letotafot beinenecha uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha Leman tizkaru va'asitem et kol mitzotai v'hitem kedoshim le'Elohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim li'yot lachem le'Elohim ani Adonai Elohechem Adonai Elohechem Emet. And now if you will turn to the bottom of page 157 as we'll read before our Micha Mocha. And let's think about where we are in the world and where we are in Israel and Jerusalem as we say these words, and throughout our country and abroad. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth. The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love. From bondage in Egypt we were delivered at Sinai. We bound ourselves to your way. Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages time and again, we overcame oppressive forces. Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision for a world redeemed. Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea, our Michamocha. And if you are so inclined, you can get up and dance around, shake your tushy a little bit, your takas, and get connected to God, or you can do it right there in your pews if you feel like it. Michamocha, page 158. That is so exciting. V'ne'amar ki chad Adonai et Yaakov, v'lo yachazak mimenu barach et Adonai Gal Yisrael. And now if you turn to page 164, and please rise. As the ark is open, sorry you guys just sat down. I'll open the ark. You just go ahead and stay there as we have our Amidah, our standing prayer, and it continues on the following 3 pages. So feel free. Adonai sefatai tiftahu fi agi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Mekonei Hakol, Mezocher Hasei Avot V'Imahot, U'Mevi Geula Libnei B'neihem, Lemon Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer Moshiach Magin, Baruch atah Adonai, Magin Avraham, Vezrat Sarah, page 168, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechaye Hakol atah, Rav Lehoshia Morid hatah, Mechakel Chayim B'Chesed, Mechaye Hakol Berachamim Rabim, Somech Nofli Merofei Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato, Lishene Afar, Michamocha Ba'gevurot, Umidon Elach, Melech Mimi Tumechayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, Bene'eman Atal HaChayot HaKol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechaye HaMetim, Atah Kadosh v'Shimcha Kadosh, V'Kadoshim B'Kol Yom, Yahalalucha Selah, Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. Please be seated as the ark is closed. You know, Mark, I was having a flash while I was up here. I don't think we ever had your second bar mitzvah for your 83rd, and I know that you're just, so young. I was listening to both of you, and I was thinking about how wonderful it was when Sandra we were in that B'nai Mitzvah class for hers. We need to have a big hoo-ha, and we're going to just have you go back. We're going to have you be 83 again. I got the message while I was up here, so you need to think about it. No pressure. Okay, if we go to page 174, we have the say, let us read together on the top. Find favor, Adonai our God, with your people Yisrael, and accept their prayer and love. May the worship of your people Yisrael always be acceptable. God who is near to all who call, turn lovingly to your servants and pour out your Spirit upon us. And the text is right above it. Ritzei Adonai Eloheinu ve'amcha Yisrael. Ritzei Adonai Eloheinu ve'amcha Yisrael. U'tefilatam U'tefilatam ve'ahava tekabel. U'tefilatam ve'ahava tekabel. Ritzei, Ritzei, Adonai Eloheinu ve'amcha Yisrael. Ritzei, Ritzei, Adonai Eloheinu ve'amcha Yisrael. And so, Dan, shall we throw one in? Just haven't done it in a while, feeling so inspired. Shalom Rav, can you just wing it because you're so great? Page 178, Shalom Rav. And let us together collectively have a prayer for peace we so desperately need, and on this Shabbat of rest and of peace, let it be truly an abundant one. Shalom Rav Yisrael Ancha Tasim Le'alam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Ancha Tasim Le'alam. Ki atah melech ador lechol shalom. Ki atah melech ador lechol shalom. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. V'tov be'enecha levarech et Amcha Yisrael. V'chol eir v'chol shah b'shlomecha. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. Tasim Le'olam. Tasim Le'olam. And together on the top of page 179. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace, its advocate among the nations. May contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among all the inhabitants of every land. Plant virtue in every soul, and may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Praised are you, Eternal One, who blesses our people with peace. Baruch atah Adonai hamavarech et amo Yisrael b'shalom. Shabbat shalom, everybody. Well, it is wonderful to be here together. Thank you we had the service online the last time. We meet the first and third Friday. And I had surgery. As you can see, I am alive and well. We say Baruch Hashem, thank you to God. And now when we get to the Misha Barak, we must pray for my daughter and her husband who are currently in the emergency room at Cedar Sinai. So you know what? We just throw it all out there and we say, please be with us and grant us good health and abundant peace. So, have you been feeling a little warm this past week? A little hot, a little bit like we're in the Bami Bar in the desert. It is interesting. I always say that the Torah lines up with wherever we are in our lives. And what we do every Shabbat is have a little bit of Torah, but we make it relevant to our current lives. So it is interesting that we are amidst a heat wave while our Torah portion is Chukat. And the Israelites have yet another crisis in the heat of the desert with no water. Imagine how we would feel if we had no water. One of our congregants texted me to ask me if we had water at the temple today. This parsha is actually famous for two different stories, all having to do with lessons in patience, attitude, and faith, as well as loss and longing. We just laid to rest a wonderful congregant of ours, Joseph Kritzer, yesterday, and he's the only person that we've had die from COVID. So may his name be blessed on high. This Shabbat, we are going to focus on the story that pertains to Moses and Miriam and water and that striking of the rock. Some of you know that story of Moses striking of the rock and the water came forth. The Israelites find themselves without water after 40 years of wandering, and now Miriam has just died. Wherever Miriam went, the water would follow. Miriam watched faithfully as her brother, her little baby brother Moses, was put in that basket, a mere babe, and he found his way. He floated his way into the palace and toward his destiny. And she was with him. She was also with him at the Sea of Reeds, singing Miriam's song. We just danced around for Shabbat. We do it all the time with the Michamocha, where we celebrate that moment when the sea parted, those waters parted, and we went forth with faith and not fear toward our destiny. And when the water ran out, that rock, there was a striking of the rock. God, the first time, commanded Moses to strike that rock, and that rock became Miriam's well, a source of replenishment. Well, she was thriving and she was alive, but now she has passed. At the beginning of this parsha, we see this, and now we find in it that Moshe is crying out. He is in despair. He has lost his beloved sister, and he's been told to speak to this rock for the water. Whether it's his own frustration or his frustration with the people, he exhibits that he is actually human. He exhibits some of his own aggravation, and he strikes that rock, as God had instructed him to before, for water to emerge. But this time, it was different. This time, had he been listening for whatever reason, whatever his choice was, God had told him to speak, just speak to the rock, and the water will flow. For whatever reason, and there are volumes of commentary on this, Moses doesn't listen to this. There are moments, and maybe it's an example for us to know, there are moments in our lives when we make a choice, and it completely changes our direction or influences our destiny, like when we say in the morning prayer in Lech Lecha, God disturbs us out of our complacency towards our destiny. Has anyone ever had a moment where they made a decision that altered the course and the fate of their lives? Okay, well, this was one of those moments for Moses. His choice to strike that rock rather than speak to it was so inherently extreme that it cost him his entrance into the promised land. It was not going to be him that was going to lead the new generation. Moses, Miriam, Aaron, and their generation, none of them get in. And it was the next generation that then went forward to lead toward the promise. Faith and obedience seem to be non-negotiable acts that God requires to engage and merit the promise. Miriam had faith as she watched over her baby brother as he floated in the basket towards God's promise of a destiny unknown at that time. Once again at the sea, toward a destiny unknown. No one could know what was going to happen, but faith, spirit, and obedience to go forth into the unknown would part even that which would seem immovable, parted those waters, and we went forward. Miriam led the women in song. Miriam was a figure and the epitome of patience and faith. Moses, while only human, had his moments of frustration, even though he was always mindful of God and had this amazing relationship. But at this particular moment, his faith faltered. Whether it was his grief over the loss of Miriam or the reality that everything always ultimately relied on him, weighed heavily on him, he may have just lost sight for the moment. Maybe he was just so totally blinded by his grief. He was so unable to have the faith that merely speaking, when before he was told to strike it, that merely speaking would bring forth the water, and the Israelites were desperate and angry and wanted it, and he's stuck in the middle. Maybe, who knows what that was that made him do that. But he did not listen to God. He reverted to what he knew, what he had done in the past, what was comfortable to him. He struck that rock and he changed the course of history for all time. Now, maybe what had been done in the past was not what needed to be done for the future. To conquer the promised land, new ideas, fresh perspective, new points of view would be necessary to flow like water from a stone, only when it is fueled by the faith that God provides. Remember, God spoke, and what happened? The entire world came into being. It was Lashon Hara, negative speech, that caused Miriam to get leprosy, and the necessity for Moses to then plead to God, heal Miriam. And he did. God did once again. And what happened? The water flowed. We are carried in the womb in water. Moses was drawn from the water. We were ourselves spared from the Egyptians, walking through walls of what? Water that were split apart, mostly with our faith, our obedience, our willingness to take a chance, a risk to go towards what's ahead. Faith in our leader, faith in the unseen, or at the very least in ourselves, looking at the circumstances, weighing our options, and realizing that the only choice is to go forward. Forward with faith, forward not with fear, embracing destiny. In the camps during the Holocaust, it said that some went toward a certain death in the gas chambers, chanting, Ani Ma'amin, I believe with perfect faith, even though feeling him not, that the Messiah will come, that perfect world of peace will come. We are at a crossroads as a country, as a global humanity, and as a Jewish people with new leadership in our homeland. What will it take to engage the promise? Will this leadership lead Israel toward the promise, just as the next generation was meant to lead us all forward? The old generation died in the wilderness and the next generation got in. Tomorrow, many are going to celebrate Juneteenth and the abolishment of slavery, and yet we're here, generations later, still trying to figure out what that means, how to enforce it, and how we can all really, truly be free. What will ensure our continuity as one global humanity and our ability to be nourished in the desert, even when feeling him not? It always comes down to faith. Faith in that which is unseen, faith in ourselves, faith in each other, and yes, obedience to a higher state provided by God with our roadmap, the Torah, our guide to ethical and moral living. When we combine morality and action based on faith and not fear, speaking to a rock will produce more nourishment than striking it and continuing outdated modes of behavior. Having faith in ourselves and God to try to take a risk and maybe try something new, which is something that we all need to do even today. And maybe understanding that our speech, both positive and or negative, creates possibilities or obstacles in our path to our destiny. And then even in our darkest moments, at times of debilitating grief or insurmountable challenge, having faith in something greater than ourselves will bring understanding and revelation of a destiny we could never have imagined. Just as Miriam watched over and followed her baby brother's journey through the water, she could never have known where God was taking her and the Jewish people as a whole, but she had faith. Faith and obedience. Think about what this means to you over this Shabbat and where it might lead you if you just give it a little jump start, a little boost, re-energize it. And us as a community and as a people, not just a Jewish people, but as a whole, sharing this world, brothers and sisters, as we sing in the Hinei Matov, one global humanity. May God at this time, may it be our prayer, watch over us, and may we be filled with faith as we go forward toward our individual and our collective destiny. May we speak and abundance flow. Shabbat Shalom. And so now we're going to pray for good healing, or refuah shlema. If you'll turn to page 371. At this time, a little shout out to Terry Schneier, who's in the hospital, immediate past president. She had surgery last week, and then she had surgery again yesterday. Hopefully she'll go home over the weekend, and everything will be well. So may you have a complete and full healing. May my children have a complete and full healing, and all those around the world who are suffering. And may you, if you feel like you have names that you want to give honor to, you can either stand or stay seated, but say their names aloud. And we're going to go ahead and have you do that right now, and then we're going to sing the prayer on page 371. So as they start the Misha Bera, please say the names of your loved ones, those in our community that need a spiritual boost of energy and physical healing, and for your loved ones as well, and around the world. Misha Bera. Misha Bera, Avotenu, Mekor HaBracha, may the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, And as the ark is open, please rise and turn to page 586 for our Aleinu prayer, our closing prayer. 586. Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol, bottom of the page, latei gedula lo yetzer bereshit, shelo asanu kegoye haratzon, velo samanu kemishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, vegor aleinu kechol hamonon, v'anachnu korim, umishtachavim umodim, lefnei melech malchei hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Shehu Notei Shamayim V'Yosed Aretz, U'Moshe V'Yekaro B'Shamayim Mima'al, U'Shechinatu Zo, V'Govhei Meromim, Hu Eloheinu Eino, Emet Malkeinu Efesulato, Kakatu B'Torato, V'Yadata Hayam B'Hashebota Yalavacha, Ki Adonai Hu HaElohim B'Shalom. v'ne'emar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yihyeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad. Please be seated as the ark is closed. And now, if you will turn to page 598 for our Mourner's Kaddish, I want to let you all know that Dan and Marianne and Hilda are harpists, and then we had the saxophonist, Gary. They did a fabulous job. Thank you so much. The family was so grateful. They wanted a huge hoo-ha at the memorial service yesterday, and you were terrific. And Dan did an amazing rendition of Bruce Springsteen and something from Rent, and they just loved it. So thank you. Thank you very much. So our prayers go out to the family of Joe Kritzer, and also if you have anybody that you've lost in the past week, would you please rise and say their names? Sorry to hear. Anybody else? In the last 30 days, the Shloshim period, if you've lost anyone, please rise and say their name. If you have lost anyone in the last 11 months, would you please say their names? Stay standing. Anybody else? If you're observing the yard site, an anniversary of a loved one's death, Harriet? Bob and Natalie?
My father, Ben Wallace.
My mother and father, Sarah Boy Spencer.
Pat?
My father, Joe Klein, and my mother-in-law, Esther Alexander.
And Sonny?
A very good friend of mine, Bob Leonard.
Sorry to hear. Dana?
My grandmother, Minnie Niven Freibish, and my brother-in-law, Bobby Walt.
And Sandra? Did you have something?
Last month was my mother, and now it's my former husband.
You know, because we're not having a service early in July, I would like to say that my cousin Sandra Levinson and Tony's uncle, Bobby Untrapped, and Benjamin Wolf, and my brother Jay Garrison.
Okay. And you had Sandra?
My brother Ernest Rolban.
Anybody else have anybody in July they want to mention? And Dan?
My father, Edward Saul Spector, Asher, and Tom.
Okay. Deborah?
In June, Glenn's mother, and Naomi Chayman.
Anybody else? We're all good?
We're going to be here in July.
The third Friday, but she was covering the first Friday because it's 4th of July weekend, so we'll be off. Maybe we should find everyone and have a barbecue, I don't know. So we do have a barbecue I bought for us. So page 598, may all of your loved ones be blessed on high. Please rise if you're able to. I'll raise my hand when I say V'imarum. You say Amen. May they all be blessed with God's divine light. And may those of you who are grieving at this time also find peace. So page 598, and we'll go slowly so everyone can follow. And the transliteration is there. Or at home, if I raise my hand, just say Amen, and you get the merit of having said the whole text. Yikadal v'yikadash shemei rabbah, be'alma divarach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayeh d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agala v'zman kariv yimru. Yehei shemei rabbah mevarach le'alam u'lamei amaya. V'yit barach, v'yish tabach, v'yit pa'ar, v'yit ramam, v'yit naseh, v'yit hadar, v'yit alev, v'yit halal, shemei d'kudashah b'richu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alama v'imrun, yehei shalama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru, oseh shalom b'imromav, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, Amen. May God, who is the author of life and death, grant eternal rest and perfect peace to our loved ones in the heavenly realm, and peace to everyone around the world and here that are mourning, as together we say, Amen. And Joy will come up, and everyone else, please be seated. We'll have announcements after Joy. And Natalie, do you have something to get for us? Last year, because of COVID, Joy was blessed to have her 90th birthday. And we weren't here to make a big hoo-ha for her. And so Joy is a very joyous person. And we're so thrilled. You always have such positivity and light. And I'm going to actually, everyone please rise. We'll bless her in front of the ark. Now it's your 91st. So you see, you know, it never really counts until you get past it. Like, it was never 40 for me. It was 41. It wasn't 50. It was 51. You know, now I'm 61. But you know what? It's when you get to the number 1, then you go forward, which is why we circumcise on the 8th day, right? So we had the 7 days of creation. We had that week that was Tov and goodness, but it was the 8th day. It's when we take it past that first week that we really carry it forward, that we're proactive towards our destiny. So this is why we had to do this on your 91st. You are alive, you're healthy and well, and we have some balloons for you. Yom Huledet Sameach, Yom Huledet Sameach, Yom Huledet Sameach, Yom Huledet Sameach. Happy birthday, Natalie. Would you like to say a little something to Joy?
Just keep going, lady. We all enjoy having you around, of course.
Enjoy, we enjoy joy.
Yes, exactly. It's easier for you in lieu of an onig.
Yeah, because we normally would have cake, but we're still not sure when we're going to start doing that again, which is why we're going out to eat. So in front of these Torahs, may the light of God and Torah, which I know you take so seriously, and your husband Bob, guide your days and give you abundant good health. So everyone, look, we can hug. Woo! Okay, so be careful as you go down, and we'll sing in English. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Joy. May you live to 120. Happy birthday to you, and many more. And now our president, where did she go? Diana. Okay, well, let us now, we will put our arms around each other if you're so inclined, or hug yourself. We'll do the Birkat Kohanim, and then maybe she'll be back, or we'll sing our closing song, and then she'll give you announcements. So, take a deep breath in, and a deep breath out, and those English words, may God bless you and keep you. May God's countenance shine upon you. May God be with you always, all of us, and grant us peace. Yevarechecha Adonai ve'yishmerecha. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yichunecha. Yisa Adonai panav elecha ve'yasem lecha shalom. Can you hear our sound? May it be God's will. Please be seated, and Diana will come up with some announcements. And as she's getting ready, we'll sing Adon Olam, page 625. Adon Olam, Asher Malach, V'terem Kol, 625. Yitzir Nivra, Le'ed Nasa, V'chesako, Azai Melech, Shemo Nikra, Ve'acharei, Kiklot HaKol, Levado, Imlok Nora, Thank you, Madam President, who was also in the choir. It's all yours. Take it away.
It's all mine. I'm going to take it. I don't know what I want to do. I never know what I want to do. It just kind of happens. Shabbat shalom, everybody. Hey, you know what? We're open. There are a lot of our people who are not here. They're watching us on live stream. Shabbat shalom to you too. As each day goes by, we'll have more people who are not afraid to come. In the meantime, we're here. And you know what? If you're vaccinated, you don't have to wear a mask. Isn't that nice? Some of you are wearing it, but that's okay. You don't have to have your temperature taken, or you don't have to sign waivers. Hooray. So just stay careful. Our service tonight is sponsored by Bob and Nat Spencer in loving memory of Nat's father, Ben Wallace, and Bob's parents, Sarah and Maury Spencer. Our flowers are sponsored by Bob and Joy Feldman in honor of Joy's 91st birthday. Happy birthday, Joy. Now, you know, that's really pretty impressive. May you celebrate many more birthdays with joy and happiness. Now, no pun intended. Thank you so much to Rabbi Cantor Didi for another beautiful service. It's very thoughtful. It's hard to think sometimes. Thank you to Dan Spector and to Mary Ann Ronstein. You provided wonderful music as usual. Such talent. Thank you to Mark Tannen and Andrew Liu for their help with the live stream and our YouTube. Now, after tonight's service, we will be going to Hank's Italian Restaurant. That's on Hawthorne Boulevard, just south of PCH. And if you haven't already let us know that you're coming, please let us know, because we do have a reservation, right? Right. Okay, so guess what? Sisterhood is having their very, very first meeting at the building in over a year. Now, that's exciting. It's this coming Tuesday at 7 o'clock. Okay, sisters, we're expecting you. Actually, I might be on Zoom if you have it. I don't know. I haven't figured out how to be in two places at once yet, but I'm working on it. Okay, Lunch Bunch, our inevitable group. Lunch Bunch meets this Wednesday, June 23rd at 12:30 at the Pan Restaurant on PCH and Oak Street. And if you haven't said you want to join us, please let me know as soon as possible. So far, I think we have about 15, right? And if you want to join us, let me know. Now, since we never have a service on July 4th, our next service will be Friday, July 16 at 5 o'clock. It's difficult for me to get here at 5, I have to tell you, but we're going to meet at 5. We're going to dinner afterwards, and it will be determined where, but let us know if you want to join us, and that's it for July. We will have 2 services with new member open house dinners in August. August 6th and August 20th, starting with dinner at 6 o'clock, following with a service at 7. Now, believe it or not, we are already preparing for High Holy Days. Musicians start rehearsing in August, and you know we can actually have people who blow horns. We haven't been able to do that for a year. Erev Rosh Hashanah is Monday, September 6th at 7 p.m. Rosh Hashanah is Tuesday, September 7th at 10:30. And after the service, plan to go to the pier at Redondo Beach for Tashlik, and it will be followed by a meal at Kincaid's. Kol Nidre with our fabulous cellist, Ruslan Biryakov, Wednesday, September 15 at 7 o'clock. And Yom Kippur on Thursday, September 16 at 10:30 a.m., to be followed by a break for fast later in the evening. And more information will be coming. Our music appreciation adventure led by Dan Spector is on hold for a little bit. Watch your emails for when and how it will return. Mark Tannen's Bible study class is Tuesdays?
First and third
First and
Tuesday.
third Tuesdays, continues on Zoom. And Torah study at 9:30 on Saturday morning, right after a service, so that's tomorrow. Roger Peterson's Monday meditation class continues, so ask for more information if you're interested. I would like to remind you, if you look at our beautiful stained glass windows, the tribes and our letters, we have many people who have purchased tribes and letters. And we weren't here to celebrate it, but if you go over and look over there, you'll see that their purchases are up there. And we also have our Tree of Life. And many people purchased leaves during this past time. And those are up there too. So take a look as you come and go, they're up there. And I want you to know that they're still available for purchase if you want to remember a loved one or celebrate a simcha. They're great. Now, one more thing. Many of you have already made legacy donation pledges and sponsorship pledges, and we are really grateful because it has certainly given us a reason to start breathing again. COVID did such a number on us, as you know. Some of you haven't done it yet. Please do it. We want everybody to do something if you can. You don't start paying till after July 1st, which is the beginning of our fiscal year. And you can do it all at once, or monthly, or quarterly, or however else you want to, but please do something. Because if you love Temple Emet and our loving congregation and our beautiful building, you'll step up and help us recover from this last year. So thank you, stay well until we meet again. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. And couple things. In August, at one of the services, either the first or third Friday, we will have a celebration or a ceremony for the people who have been waiting. I think we have 3 or 4 leaves on the tree and several for the stained glass. So we will honor them at that time. Also, please watch your email because the movie theaters are open. We're all going out to dinner. So our once a month dinner and a movie night, it's coming back. So we will have these other opportunities to still be together. And we are trying to figure out how to handle everybody in August we'll have a supper before. It's a new member open house where you're inviting anybody that you want who wants to look at joining us to come and all of us eat dinner together and celebrate. So those will be at 6 o'clock and then we'll have the service and then we're going to go back to having dessert after. But then after High Holy Days in October, we'll determine whether we're going to shift the time of our service or whatever. People really, we have over 20 people coming to dinner tonight. So the dinner after Shabbat seems to be a nice way to come together as a community. So we might just continue with that. We will see. If you want to come tonight and you haven't told me, please feel free to come. If they give you a problem when you get to the door, just say you're there for dinner. But please leave here directly and go to Hank's Italian. It's on Hawthorne Boulevard. What is that, south of Pacific Coast Highway. As soon as you get there, be seated. The last time we were there, they had us all wait, and then they had to stay an hour later after they closed to cook and feed us. So now I've talked to the owner yesterday. As soon as you get there, you'll be seated, and you should order so that we don't have 20 people ordering at one time. So anyway, that's all the important business. We have to talk about food and libations and things. It's wonderful to have everybody here. We have 2 new people who came, right? Would you like to stand up and tell us who you are? Well, you look very familiar to me. I heard you just moved here. Where'd you move from?
Yes, from Fremont, the Bay Area.
Oh, the Bay Area. Well, I was born up there, so maybe we crossed our paths.
About a year and a half ago, but that's exactly at the beginning of the pandemic. So
Oh.
we were sequestered for a long time.
Well, I'm glad you took that step forward and came to us because we're a loving community and we welcome you with open arms, literally. Welcome. Come to dinner with us. Wonderful. Okay, well, let's sing Oh Say Shalom and let's go eat, all of you. All right, and in the cyberspace world, come join us if you want. We love you all, and we'll see you on the 3rd Friday in July or at any of these other events. Please join us. Oh, say Shalom B'Roma. Say Shalom Aleinu. Ve'al Kol Yisrael. Ve'Yivru, Amen. Say Shalom. Say Shalom. Shalom Aleinu. Ve'al Kol Yisrael. Say Shalom. Say Shalom. Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Woo. We'll see you soon. Thank you.